So last Friday, I took the stage with Canva and Microsoft and HubSpot. My ADHD little autistic self is still recovering from this. So I was invited to speak by the lovely AJ from Redhead Marketing at Busselton's very first AI conference last Friday. And oh man, I'm still buzzing from that. But yeah, far out. That was such an honor to be there. And I took so much away from the event. And I am going to run you through kind of some of the key takeaways today. And I guess go through a little bit of my talk as well. It was so cool to just share that stage with some really incredible leaders in the AI space. And it also reminded me how much of a bubble we are in the online space. So every single person, aside from the people that I knew from like the Busselton community, are doing like incredible stuff in the AI space. I didn't know any of them. Like last Friday, I had no idea that these people existed. And I talk about this a little bit with my business advisor, Peter from the Professional Babe. She's always encouraging me to go to in-person events and reminding me that the online space really is a bubble. And that really cemented it for me on Friday. And also just how good in-person events are. You can't replicate that. I run a lot of online events and I love them so much, but like being in a room full of humans is amazing. And that ties in really nicely with one of the key takeaways that I want to talk about in a little bit about that human connection piece in the age of AI. But first, let's get into, I guess, how the hell I got to share a stage with these amazing leaders. So if you are new to the podcast, you may not know that I don't have like a formal background in tech. If you have listened for a while, you would know that there's an episode, I think it's like the second episode I did, which kind of talks through a little bit about my career up to this point and how I've gotten here. But yeah, like I wrote at the start of this year. So I wrote, my words were take action. And in my little notebook, which I have here, let me just see if I can find this actually. So I wrote down my goals and they're grouped in like physical health, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It is so cool. So we're currently in November. And I'm just reading through some of these goals right now. And one of them was to get on more stages, to speak more. I have had the pleasure of speaking. I've run workshops, in-person workshops for a whole bunch of business chambers locally. I spoke at the Inspire and Collaborate event in January. Shout out to Kel who runs those, like any Southwest women, if you are listening. She puts on the most incredible networking events. Yeah, so I spoke at that. I've been a guest presenter in Sabrina Ramanov's Women's Build with AI community. And like she is an absolute idol of mine. I just love her. She's just so real. And yeah, I have pretty well kicked that goal, which I'm really proud of. But yeah, I think for a little while I was like, oh, I just fell into this. And I'm kind of stopping myself from saying that now because I have actually built this. Often on a Friday and Saturday night, I will be like watching YouTube tutorials or I will be building something in N8N. I have spent so many hours trying to get stuff to work for myself to the point where I'm like almost giving up and then, it'll click and I'll get it. A lot of work has gone into this to get me to where I am today. I love that though. Like, how good to be so passionate about something and want to spend that time to get better. I'm just getting my little notebook back up. This is so cool. So, I have got here to do a triathlon. So, if you listened to my podcast last week, you would know that I did that. I've also got here get a sauna. Guess what we did in the middle of the year? Got a sauna. This is so cool. Get in the water every day. Yeah, actively look for community. Do you know how cool it is? I really feel like I have a really lovely community, both online and in person. This is nice to reflect on because we are almost at the end of the year. Anyways, I am getting sidetracked. But one thing that I'm so proud of is getting up, getting on these stages. Just for a little bit of context, if we rewind it back to my first hospitality job, I remember it was at this cafe and my boss, Mike, was like, you're doing really well, but like, you just don't talk. Like, I had to teach myself how to talk to people. I was so painfully shy. And now that I understand that I'm neurodivergent, that makes a lot of sense. But back in the day, I was just like, oh, I'm just like so shy. I'm really bad at this. So I had to like teach myself how to talk to people, like to the point where I would be like, okay, when someone says, how are you? Like practice saying like, good, thanks. How are you? And oh my God, like now I'm like, this is so autistically coded. It's so funny to reflect on that now. But yeah, I was also really afraid of like saying the wrong thing, which like, I don't know if you can say the wrong thing when someone asks you how you are, but I just like didn't understand that exchange. And now I've like spoken on some really incredible stages this year. So I guess I'm sharing that because I'm like, well, if I can do this, like you can do this too. Anything is possible. And that is so much part of my mission, I guess. Like, and I share this stuff because I just want to normalize it, you know. It is a cliche, but like Instagram, social media, it is very much a highlight reel. But oh my God, I was still so nervous. And at the end, I was a little bit disappointed in myself for how nervous I was. I don't like to be that nervous that I feel like it affects my delivery. I had really, really nice feedback afterwards. I guess it's just, you know, those personal goals you set. So anyways, the more I do it, the better I'm going to get at it. Now, into some of the key takeaways from the conference. One of the biggest takeaways, and this was one of the themes throughout the whole day, is that human connection is everything. We are in the age of AI now. And so the brands, the businesses, the people that are going to win are the ones who remain deeply human. And also there was this sense of optimism, which obviously, like if you're going to an AI conference, you're probably pretty keen on the tech. But it was like, I don't think it's doom and gloom. I don't think that people are all just going to lose their jobs to AI. I think what we're seeing, and this was reflected in those talks, it's like augmented work. So we will be working alongside AI. It's not going to take our job per se. And so that's really important because that means you need to skill up in this stuff. It also means that if you are highly skilled in something, that is a really good place to be. However, you can't rely on that on its own anymore. You need to be able to kind of bring AI into what you're doing because people, clients, even like if you're an employee, managers are going to expect that you can do your job alongside AI because the output is going to be so much better than human only or AI only. a lot of talk around AI doesn't replace you. It's here to amplify you. It scales your voice. It doesn't take away from your voice. And I guess that is a really key point too. A lot of what I share speaks to that. You have to define your voice before you can bring AI in. Like, I think that is key. If you don't have that clear, then that's when things are going to get really kind of generic, middle of the road. People can do average now. People can do like okay now because AI helps us get there. So if you are strategic and bring in AI, that's going to be heaps better. And an example of this, so I'm currently working with Liv from the identity department, getting really clear on my brand voice, my brand positioning, that sort of thing. And that may surprise some people, but I firmly believe that AI is a mirror. I don't have that knowledge. Like I don't have a marketing background. I'm not like a branding strategist like Liv. So I can only get AI to do so much for me. So that's why we're working together now to kind of flesh this stuff out. And then, yeah, I will use AI to help me. It's going to be a lot more dialed in going through her program because I get to work with a branding strategist. And so, yeah, the best AI systems sound like you when you are able to bring that to them. Yeah. Another key takeaway is like, let AI do the stuff you don't want to so that you can do the stuff that you love. That was like another key theme throughout. And I am so on board with this. Like 100% believe that no one should be doing data entry. Like, no. I'm sorry, but no. Does anyone enjoy that? I don't. And I absolutely think that can be handed off now. Other admin tasks that you don't enjoy, or that if you do have a team that your staff doesn't enjoy, that doesn't mean they're going to be out of a job. But I'm sure there are people on your team, like I used to be, who were grossly underutilized, who, you know, are stuck doing this like mundane admin when maybe they're really creative or really strategic, but they just haven't had the capacity to kind of show that or being given opportunities because obviously that work still needs to be done. Repurposing content with AI, that is huge. Drafting with AI, coding with AI, that was another theme that was constantly touched on. Senior engineers, coders, programmers won't be necessarily replaced, but it's like working with them. With AI, we'll see them like their output is going to be so much faster. If anyone doesn't know what vibe coding is, it's basically where you're prompting with AI in natural language and getting it to code for you. People from non-technical backgrounds such as me have been creating products, but obviously then if you want to take that to production, you want to hand that off to someone who knows what they're doing. They probably need to tidy up the code. And so, yeah, it's definitely throughout the day, that was another theme. Like those skills aren't going to be replaced by AI. And so I guess the themes when you keep the creativity, the strategy, relationships, they're going to be so important. And you could see that in the room. Like everyone was so stoked to be in a room together, sharing ideas. It was really cool to just be in that space and just talk AI for all day. My talk was like going through workflows. The talk was you've got an AI note taker, now what? I just wanted to show people what you can do with AI. Who here is using an AI note taker? Who here is using it for anything other than actions and minutes? Because that's a great place to start, but there's so much more you can do with it, like auto-generate proposals, content ideas, like from your transcripts, just getting people to rethink their workflows too. Getting data ready to be able to hand off to AI. Because if we're still doing things manually, that's not in the correct format that AI needs it in. So we need to start to systemize things and really work through those workflows to then be able to pass it off to AI and automations. The final takeaway, when you are so close to it, you forget that this isn't obvious to everyone, or not everyone understands this. But that was, if you're using free AI tools, you are not the customer, you are the product. So free tools train on your data. That's the trade-off of getting access to, say, ChatGPT for free, is that they use your data to train the models. So, your brand voice, your IP, possibly client info if you're dumping that in there. And that's not worth risking. So you want to pay to protect what matters. And look, some of this stuff is $20 a month now. If you have IP, you should be paying subscriptions to protect that. And in the paid version too, make sure, say you're using ChatGPT, you do also want to go down to your profile and go to settings. And I think it's data controls, and they say it so sneakily. It's improve the model for everyone else. You want to click that and make sure it's off, because that is when your data will be used to train the model. So that is key. And I think potentially I haven't spoken about that enough. So if you can, pay for your subscriptions, or think about the stuff that you're putting into these models, because you are becoming the product if you are not paying for them. I just want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, if you are interested in getting into the AI space or pivoting, or I guess even just working in your own business and just wondering if you're tech enough, or I don't know, battling with imposter syndrome, just know that if you just back yourself, then good things will come. Opportunities will present themselves, but you have to present yourself for these opportunities too. That's what I will say. As I said at the start, there's so much work that has gone on behind the scenes that only my husband probably sees. I guess I felt ready for these opportunities because of that. I hope that this encourages you to kind of go for that stuff too. The awkward girl with the T-Rex arms can get up on stage, then you can too, if that's what you want to do. I can walk you through that awkwardness if you want. I was so nervous, and I'm standing up at the mics before we start and I didn't realize they were on, and I just let out this big sigh, oh, and I was oh my God, everyone heard that. Love that for me. I was take a step back. Nobody needs to hear how nervous you are right now. But it's so important for people like us to get up on stage too. PS, one, women in AI. And I will say AJ did such a good job of balancing that. There was a mix of people from all different backgrounds. It was such a good day, and representation matters. Also regional WA representing, a little regional city in WA putting on this awesome AI conference. Props to AJ. That was incredible. And so, yeah, to just see all different types of people gathering, talking about AI, talking about how they want this future to be shaped. That was really, really cool. And so if there is an event near you, I fully encourage you to go along. If you're thinking, oh, it's just going to be full techie. So much of this was non-technical, even the people who have technical backgrounds. It was so approachable, and I highly encourage you to get along if you can to one of these kind of events. So to wrap this up, start with one tiny AI win in your business. That's what I will say today. If you haven't already, open ChatGPT. If you're using the free version, please consider using the paid. Another really key thing, again, when you're so close to it, you forget that this stuff isn't obvious. They had a cybersecurity panel, and one of the key takeaways from that was if you're not comfortable with it being shared on LinkedIn, probably don't put it into a chatbot. That is just such an easy way to remember this stuff and kind of check yourself. The final thing is you don't need to be techie. You just need to be curious. And there's so much opportunity in this space. There is plenty of the pie for everyone as well.